Hello and welcome to Running Hot. My name is Jackson and I'm joined today by Chris. How are you, Chris?
Not too bad. It's super hot today.
It is. It's very hot. Got my fan running.
Yeah.
Um, but speaking of heat, things are heating up because right now we are covering the first round of the second day of the Brisbane Northern Nationals that we ran back in July on the 21st. So yes, we're looking at the first round of the top cut, and I believe you're familiar with the two participants.
Yes, because
Who
the
we got?
guy on the left has. You can tell that it's a serious tournament because he's actually fucking cleaned up his tokens, finally. That would be me. My token set does not finally look like a bomb hit it. Looks like I'm
Nice.
taking a mulligan too. So I'm on the left playing as Kit, and our opponent, who I guess will use his Jinteki handle, which is, and then I pull this up real quick, abstracted, I believe.
Yep, that's correct.
Yep,
Abstracted.
abstracted. He is playing precision design. So I just took a mulligan and he's shuffling the deck. I remember this point because abstracted kept freaking drop a card, kept his opening hand.
Yep. So we've got a fairly classic matchup, I think, for this tournament. Kit's seen a lot of play. PD's a very popular choice. We've already seen new play. I don't think we've seen Abstracted yet in the tournament, but obviously he's done well. So
Yep.
now, this being the first round of the top cut, what actually happens is the person who placed higher in day one in the Swiss rounds, they get to choose which side they play in this first round only. Now, you were that person who placed higher, Chris, so you got to choose which sides you played. So you've
Mhm.
obviously chosen runner. What was your thinking behind that?
To be blunt, his runner deck was lat and it had a whole bunch of tools that would have really annoyed me had I played asset spam ob. Like he had clot, which is annoying because it turns off the fast advanced win condition.
Yep,
And while we say that, he's getting started with Ice Ice Hedge Fund.
very solid
So
opening.
to be blunt, this matchup is very it's very fundamentals Netrunner, and honestly, one of the reasons I brought Kit, it's kind of got that criminal esque aspect where you're basically playing just good cards and a whole bunch of stuff. So in this case, I take a turn which appears to be Diesel, uh, draw an extra card, and then gain a bunch of money and discard the Orca.
Yep,
My intent, obviously, being to eventually put that back in the deck using a
compile.
compile. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, see, abstracted here took a turn where he plays corporate hospitality and pulls back a hedge fund, and then I think is going to play a hedge fund.
That would make sense. So
Yeah,
that's one of the newer cards. It's a double, so you make a bunch of money, draw a couple cards, and then you get to pull something back from archives. So
yeah.
pretty solid.
And meanwhile, I'm just going diesel into diesel. You gotta love it. So this is the thing with this particular one is like I don't mind playing into PD when I get the chance to set up because it's not like I'm gonna get surprised by random kill or random brain damage out of PD, right?
No,
He'll
it's
need a
very straightforward.
yeah. This one is not on the more recent version, which is on Big Deal. This is just
Oh
the
yeah,
bog standard PD that you know and love. Um, okay, looks like we've finally hit our first spark, which is good
nice.
timing.
I was about
So
to ask, what is that card? But we can tell,
yeah.
obviously.
I
We're
spent
gonna.
3 credits and we're flipping every card in the deck. If you saw there, this is
Yeah.
a real quick thing. There was an Eru there. Eru Asa Pessoa, I think is her name. God,
Yes,
look at the glare on this. Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
that's all right. We know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we don't know what we found, but I do. You have
I'm
more than one
gonna
Orca?
tell you, it is a Lobseum.
Yeah.
It could have been an Inversificator, but I'm pretty sure I have that in hand, so I knew what I was drawing for, which is nice.
Right.
Um, where was I at? Yeah, so I added a few extra tricks in this deck. So the reason I added Eru is I found in the Glacier matchup, it's just really nice to have Eru as a backup win condition.
Yeah.
Eru, for those who don't know, is that the Anarch resource where you can take a run on archives and you take a tag, but then you access R&D instead of archives.
Hmm.
And it has a couple of effects with Kit. The first is that it causes them to ice archives, which sounds a bit silly, but Kit does, end of the day, prefer less remotes that are, how should I put this? Okay, we got
Less
DJ
ice.
Ferris in the table. Obviously choosing Steve. And it
Yep.
looks like we're going for our first burner. So
Yeah. Okay.
so one of the reasons I like playing this particular kit, this kit is basically recognizes that trick shot and burner are two busted cards. Let's play as many copies of them as possible and make it just otherwise just be gas and like money and draw. That's it.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
abstracted res is a MIC here in response
yep,
to your run on HQ. Plenty of money
yep.
to afford that. It's a decent piece of ice. I think you. What do you break it for? 5.
Uh, it's 4 credits, 1 pump and 3 boosts. It's kind of
Right.
annoying because like this is what I'm probably going to start doing is actually run last click, so I only need to functionally break it for 2 credits. Ooh.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, we knew
Okay,
there
so
was a
this,
hedge fund in there, right? Oh no, we
yeah,
didn't because there's a second one.
yeah, there's a second one. So this tells me that that's not an event, an agenda, but it does annoyingly tell me that nice work. I
Thank you very,
remember that.
very kindly leaving that face up for you.
Yeah,
We know
it
where
does.
the
It
mind
does
is.
annoyingly tell me that that's a Rashida, and I'm about to lose all my hard work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So we draw back up 3, then we mandatory draw, and we also get 3 credits.
yeah.
So
Which that was why I did go for the burner play. Was that simply put, if that was an agenda, I delay it by 1 turn because
mm,
I'm gonna hit the seamless launch. I'm gonna put it on the bottom.
yeah, I think
Um,
that's a very reasonable call.
yeah.
And costing
Now,
6, I mean, you don't know that it's MIC and HQ, but costing them 6 credits definitely sets them
oh,
back.
whoops,
Little
sorry, I bumped
camera
it.
bump there.
Yeah, agreed. Like I like this particular version of the HB because it's just got so much money. I actually think that if you can somehow squeeze in more corporate hospitalities, like the ideal is the dream is you get to so you corporate
Yeah.
hospitality into the second one, and that's how you draw, and then you score as PD, you score an agenda, and you pull it back. It's quite nice.
Yeah, that does
Yeah,
sound very nice. So
it
speaking of
does
money, we just drew another hedge fund. Now we're pushing something in the
greasy.
remote.
Yeah,
Yeah, triple ice. So that's. I think. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel reasonably safe with 3 ice against Kit. Only that only has 1 breaker.
I would agree. I think we're going to challenge it anyway because we might as well.
Yeah.
Um, I think it comes down to this. I don't actually care too much about Draftifier, which is going to sound weird, but basically,
Mm,
he's going to be down 3 credits, and he's going to functionally gain 4 due to pulling back a hedge fund, and then
yeah.
also install a Rashida. But the first drafter is not going to matter because Kit will turn it into a code gate, and I'll break it with Lobsium.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not ideal. Obviously, I'd rather just stuff I can break, but it's not also the end of the world. And I do find
Yeah.
that you do have to, you can't. Okay, so the brand comes down. This is actually super ideal. So 5 credits to break, 4 from the trick shot, and 1 from my see the 1 credit I flicked on, leaving 2,
Nice.
which I get back.
Let's
Nope.
see. Ice as a
That looks like
drafter.
funnily enough, that is a drafter.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you get these situations, right? Like if this is the situation, I actually don't feel bad if he reses a drafter in my face. One, it doesn't actually stop me, so I can keep going.
Yeah.
2, he can't put the Rashida or something down in a place I can't get it because if that's an agenda, yeah, now I'm checking to see what IC has just in case
Yeah.
he has like,
Something
that
spicy.
roto turret randomly.
That would
I'll be
be
like,
quite
oh,
a good surprise.
yeah,
But yeah, I think you're right in that the sentry threat isn't really there, especially if you just want to get in. I mean, Thomas does have, sorry, Abstracted does have the option of overwriting that card in the remote with a draftifier. So if it is an agenda, you can sort of save it if it's last click. But
yeah.
that's kind
But
of a
this is
niche
click
interaction.
2. So here comes a gatekeeper, which is ideal. And at this point, I'm like, okay, then none of this matters. We're good to go.
Yeah,
Because basically, yeah. So we get another token. He's at 2 credits. He can't res anything that's relevant here. And I get an offload
off-road
office for my
office.
trouble.
Okay. That's good. So you know that there's still an Ikawa in HQ.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to do what I said earlier. So we're going to run last click on HQ. We only have to break the end the run. If he wants to, if this is a normal basic run, if he wants to crack the MIC has an ability. You crack it, and you gain thing.
And the
Well,
run unless the runner
spent.
spends a click.
Yeah. Now, normally, if it's a high impact run like a burner, I obviously am morally obligated to break all the things. But
Yes.
if it's if it's a last click run, I'm just doing to basically pull back a card with DJ Steve, then it's of no consequence. Like he can crack and be like, okay, you can lose $6 effectively in a permanent res
Yeah,
on your HQ.
yeah. I'd much
Yeah,
rather keep it there to keep your plays less flexible.
yeah. And
Now,
I'm still going to like net make money effectively because I mean it's kind of break even because I effectively get back a 3 cost card.
mm,
Sorry, a 3 profit card in the form of a dirty laundry.
yep. And you've got 3 credits sitting there on that telework contract as well, so you can
Yeah,
bounce back
exactly.
up really easily.
That's the idea. Like that's why I like this deck. Is just I picked it because in Swiss you generally want, I think, a super flexible deck that
Mm,
also is good against traps because that's where all the crazy people live.
yes.
And it's the thing is like you need something where you can account for whatever the meta is, and like the meta doesn't account for what other people are playing in different cities.
Mm.
Like you got to find what is the best thing on Netrunner DB. All right, it looks like we are Bahia banzing archives and putting down another telework.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah, I I think you
Did they?
do.
Sorry, did the thing pause just for now, everyone?
Yes, it's paused.
Okay. Connor, sorry, we need you
One
to
minute.
edit.
All
All
right,
right.
so we've got dirty laundry.
I'm thinking also on archives. I think we're just taking a get all the money turn.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair because we did spend a lot of credits
Yeah.
in the last turn, both
I
players.
think my usual experience with this matchup is that you basically are going to so I'm not on pinhole threading, which was probably the big mistake I made this tournament. I ended up not getting punished for it, but
Mm,
it is one of those ones where some pinhole threading I've always kind of annoys me as a card. Like I don't actually like running it, but also it's just sometimes you do the clutch pinhole threading. It's just like,
it's
yeah,
it's really, yeah, when it's good, it can
it's
be
so good.
game winning. Yeah.
Exactly. So click one, we basically there comes the
Oh,
whale.
yep.
I believe we are actually we are we are compiling into HQ.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing this in order to get back one of the high impact run events.
Oh, yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
Either that or we're getting money to try and challenge the remote. Oh god.
What is that?
What the fuck was that?
uh,
Sorry,
that's
everyone.
unclear.
Also, it's like I'm pretty sure that Ikawa is still in hand. I haven't seen him shuffle it.
That was drafter. I caught a glimpse of
Okay.
that. Telework. Yep.
I think we're about to rip 6 credits off of that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. So you're putting a lot of pressure on keeping your finances up.
Yeah.
I think abstracted is having a bit of a think about what to do.
Yeah. That was one other thing is that I noticed his list is very lean. Like, he just only has one spin doctor and he's looking right at it.
It's right there. Yep.
Yeah.
You got to be
Um,
careful with what you do with that.
Yep. So that's the other thing too is that all of the best shaper events do get counted by Spin Doctor.
Mm.
But like as soon as that Spin Doctor is out of the game, then like if I burn or anything, it's gone to the Shadow Realm. It's not coming back the entire
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just putting it out on the table, drawing 2 cards. Looks like 2 agendas.
Yeah, I see an
Not
off
ideal.
and also that the fact that he hasn't done anything probably indicates that that's going to be a Managarm or an Avoid.
Mm.
So, as I was saying earlier, one of the complications with my deck is that I am not on Pinhole, which means I don't actually have a good counter to Voids or Managams, apart from just like smashing into them repeatedly,
Yeah.
which can work because, again, if you have enough money, you can just keep challenging, but it's not an ideal solution. Usually, though, I found it didn't matter in testing because you kind of do this. Like, first of all, Trickshot does just give you R&D pressure that's also remote pressure.
Mm.
The second is that often you kind of just need to keep them honest enough so that they overbuild.
Ooh.
Oh, we got Nick Hauer. That's
Okay. We're on
Yeah.
game point now, and we know that
All
there's
right.
2 in
I'm
HQ.
gonna now realize that. Yeah.
Okay. Let me check the spin doctor.
Yeah.
We've
And
got
this is
something.
another good thing about trick shot is that even like I can't challenge that remote with one click left, but I can
Yeah.
just take out the doctor, and now, as I said, everything's just Gucci.
That's handy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for abstracted. I do before I don't know how much longer we got to go, but before this ends, I would like to call out abstracted has a very unique click tracker. We can't see it
Uh,
in the video. Well,
it's
we
an
can't see
abacus.
it.
I
Well,
loved it. Yeah.
it's an abacus. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
I mean, he's
creative.
doing better. I looked at that turn. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! We realized halfway through because I just took a pretty quick turn. It was just, I mean, it is like I had knew it in advance. You can see I'm like arranging the cards by twos, by the way, because it was just like, yep, it's gonna be trick
Ah,
shot, like
yes, yeah.
gain money, trick shot, do some stuff, I guess.
It's just efficient play.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, I mean, so these rounds are timed still. We had the standard. I should know. What did I say? Was it 40? I think it would have been 40
40 minute,
minutes.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have
And
been
then
30, and it wasn't any
no,
longer. Yeah, 40
it
minutes
was
sounds all right.
same as Swiss. It was 40 minutes, and then the finals were 50,
Yeah,
just to give a bit of extra time. So we're on the standard clock here.
yeah.
Um,
So at this point, I'm feeling very good about myself because, like,
yeah.
I mean, this is the ideal situation: is you have forced PD to overcommit to a remote.
Yes. We're going with something here. I mean, if you can get in there, you win, right? Like that's got to
Right.
be one of the two agendas we saw before.
Exactly. Like
Um,
the world's my oyster here. I can let this one go, especially if I think it's the Akal, which I suspect I actually am thinking it is.
well, we haven't
Uh,
seen a seamless launch yet, right? So there
yeah.
should be one in HQ by now, which means we can make that
Yes.
scoreable.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go for it.
It's kind of like I think we're in a situation where I actually don't really care if he does score because
Architect of
that's
Lanterns.
right. This was the one I was like, oh wait, I forgot. I don't know about that one, but it's probably fine.
So we haven't seen a lot of this, I don't think. This card lets you draw the top five. Well, not draw. Look at the top 5 cards of R&D, and then you get to install and res a card for
Yes.
no cost.
Correct.
Pretty
So
handy.
if you were to put a brand on that remote, that's like whoosh, extra 9 credits swing right there, which is nice.
Yes.
But again, this is one of the things like I can let 2 agendas go before it's match point, and he needs to like any pulls I get at this point are like game ending. So I definitely don't feel too bad. And he actually puts in a void, which gets $2.
Yep, that's nice.
Yeah,
So now we can end the run a couple times if you try to get in.
yeah.
Um,
This is one of those where you see something like this come down, and it probably tells you that. The funny thing is, I actually could still run the. It's probably better to run the remote when there isn't stuffed resed.
yeah.
Ideally, in order to like force him to use the void or just burn it.
Yep.
But at this point, this is like where I'm already looking at centrals at this point quite heavily.
Well, you think at this point, if they're putting something in the remote like that, they've got something they want to protect. All right.
Yeah,
Like out of the 5 cards you drew off the top of R&D, it's either ice or upgrades or agendas or operations. But if you're installing something and you're putting it in the remote like that, they probably have something in HQ that they want to chuck in the remote as soon
next
as
turn.
possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Which
So we drew click 1 and we burn at click 2.
let's go and find out.
Yeah. So yeah, 5 credits. Huh. Oh, that's right, because there's 1 credit to play the burner, and then 4 credits that break the MIC.
Yep.
I think I gave him the 2 trick shots. Yeah, 1 or 2 So that's the thing is like if you at this point basically just keep recycling all the he's going. I remember this. He told me that he was thinking about this because obviously he wanted to cut down on my ability to steal the Ikolas.
Yep. Makes
Because
sense.
now I can't actually get the Ikola because he's got a drafter,
Oh,
an off, and another drafter.
so what do you do here? You chuck the drafters on the bottom and leave the odds good because the HQ is wide open now.
Yeah. Well, I
this
mean,
is your last
I
click,
have a
isn't it?
trick shot, right? This is my. So I did that on click 2 because it was draw and then immediately slapped the burner down.
Right.
He
That's what you
burninated.
want to do.
He like got me with that one.
Yeah.
I didn't remember at this point. Like this is one of those hilarious moments where you're like, oh, I have to think now.
Well, you got to think.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I
on the
mean,
line.
realistically, what we do here is we try and win the game. So we are going to put the off-world office on top and one of the drafters on bottom,
Yeah.
and we just trick shot and hope for the best. Or I think if I've got an overclock, I'll use that instead. Yeah, I actually
Oh yeah,
overclock here. At this point, it's just like, okay, cool. We'll spend a bunch of money and win the game.
makes sense.
I think.
Very
Yep.
solid play. Hard.
I think.
If I was playing PD facing against this, it's very intimidating. I think because you can
Yeah.
just get in where you need to get in. Unless you
Yeah.
see the cards in the right order, it's pretty difficult.
This is why I like this particular deck is that you do just exploit any like holes in the corpse like lines and game plan. Had
Yep.
R&D gotten too heavily defended, we probably just try and find that error I had. I think I even had her in hand and just like slap her onto the table and start running that way. And then the deck also, this particular version I've got runs oh god.
There's agendas
Oh, right.
everywhere.
No, never mind. Yeah, there's a
Yeah, that's
full
tough.
abstracted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think also this is one of those because we were talking about this now is that he was wondering if he should have gone for a faster start, like recognizing the thing. I'm not 100% sure. I think his opening was probably about as good as it was going to get, apart from the no Rashida. But then there's the argument of like, okay, but do you mulligan an opening where you can go Ice Ice Hedge into try and score immediately on the basis you might get worse?
I think
Like,
at this level of play, I mean, it can pay to take risks, but also you can just lose on a
yeah,
mulligan. Like you can. Ice Ice Hedge Fund is a very solid opening. You do want to go
into
fast.
corporate hospitality hedge fund, by the way. Like, that's what
Yes,
part
yeah,
of it's like, look, I think
yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
pretty reasonable. I think it just didn't
Yeah.
go his way.
Yeah.
It
I
happens.
think it is one of those things is like how kit or most shapers in general startup has such a huge bearing on the game because
Yeah,
obviously if the first thing I do is play a sure gamble and then the second click is then I get the code gate breaker using Spark of Inspiration, woe is me, I'm so
feels
good at
bad.
Netrunner,
Yeah,
damn. And then if you
yeah.
spark into an Orca, you're like,
It's
or
just
worse
you're just
yet,
set.
you don't. You play your first click Diesel and draw your breakers. You're like, yep, this is great. I'm loving
Yeah.
life.
Well, yeah, that's not as good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so this is going to carry you forward into a good position for the second round.
yes,
We
it
will
is.
see that again next week. I don't think you'll be in that one. I think we pick somebody else to look at just to keep it
Yeah,
interesting.
keep it fresh.
Um, yeah. So thank you for joining me, Chris, and
No, thanks for
see
having
everyone
me.
for watching.
Take care, everyone.